I don't know what this video is, and I don't know how it's going to turn out. And I wasn't even going to make a video about it because I wanted it to be just about me and my transformative experience. I didn't want to associate it with work or anything other than trying to heal my broken mind or my broken heart. But I think it's important to document it because if the claims are true, then it could be the most transformative experience of my whole life. But I think it's important to get some context before I go. You can look at my life from the outside and think it's pretty good, and it is good. It's really good. Over the last 6 years, I've built a relatively successful name for myself, working freelance in photography, and being your own boss is it's wonderful, and it's what I've been working towards for the last 6 years. I'm healthy, relatively speaking. I've got a beautiful apartment in Sheffield, which is a really cool city that I've chosen to live in because I have the opportunity to make that choice. I have a wonderful family. If you look at my life from the outside, it looks really good, and it is really good, and I'm grateful for that. And if you spoke to me in person, or if you work with me, I know that I'll probably come across as capable and confident and hardworking. I might even come across as positive to some people, but every day when I wake up, the moment that I wake up, my heart starts pounding and I'm filled with dread and panic and worry about either about nothing in particular or about something that my brain has latched onto for that few days or for that week. For the last 15 years, I have been battling with the texture of my own mind. I have been gradually suffering more and more with anxiety for no reason. It's so frustrating that I have everything to be thankful for and everything to be happy for, but I am miserable inside. Just the smallest thing can set me off. The smallest, most insignificant thing spirals and spirals in my head until it's a real problem in my head. My anxiety always manifests as catastrophizing. Whatever it is, my brain will instantly go to the worst possible scenario and make it real, make it a guarantee in my head. Completely unreasonably. Even today, I was packing for the trip and I've had to pack and repack my bag 3 times just in case I've put something in there that shouldn't be in there, like a lighter. I don't even smoke. I haven't smoked for 7 years now. Why would there be a lighter in my bag? But in my brain, it's real, it's in there, and I just keep thinking about the situation where... And that's just one example. This happens multiple times a day, multiple times a week, multiple times a month, multiple times a year, and sometimes it's something that I latch onto, and it just consumes my life for days or weeks at a time. And most of the time I can get by. Most of the time the outward facing me is okay, and I can continue working, and I continue trying to better myself, and I continue going to the gym, and I continue trying to be a better person, trying to be a good uncle, trying to be a good photographer. And on the outside, I think I do a pretty good job, but inside I feel horrible. Like there's something wrong with me in my core. And I've had therapy before, and I'm in therapy now, which is great. I absolutely love my therapist, and I think therapy is an invaluable tool. My therapist has helped me to see things in me that I didn't consider. I had an idea that I was self-critical, but having another person reflect your own thoughts back at you just makes you realize how much you don't like yourself, how much you blame yourself for everything, how when I start catastrophizing or overthinking, it's because it's my fault, because I've done something wrong or I've missed something. I've been single for nearly 9 years now, 100% totally single. And in that time, I haven't even considered opening up to anyone. I've just been focusing on myself and trying to build my business and stay in shape and just be the best person I can be. But emotionally, I've been shut down, completely shut down. And if I'm honest, this goes back longer than that. I've been emotionally unavailable for a very long time now, and some of my relationships and probably some of my friendships have suffered from it. I'm broken. And I go from one thing to another, and it just eats away every time. Panic, worry, fear. I cannot leave the house without being 100% convinced that I'm going to burn the house down. Never. It's impossible for me, and it's been impossible for me to think anything other than I'm going to burn the house down for a number of years. It's impossible. It's almost impossible for me to play with my niece and nephew without having the fear in the back of my head that I'm going to infect them with some mystery disease just by touching them. It's impossible for me to have any kind of ache or pain, which I have a lot of now. It's impossible for me to have anything like this without instantly assuming that I have some life-threatening condition. And I don't just mean I think I have a life-threatening condition. I convince myself 100% that I have this condition, so there's no point carrying on. But I still carry on the outside. And I know that these conditions arise from my own lack of self-love or faith in myself or whatever it is. And I know the neuroscience, I know the neural pathways, these awful, these neurons that have made these connections, and it's just reinforced every time I have these negative thoughts, every time. And I know that my cortisol levels are raised all the time. It's what I feel. It's the background buzz that accompanies my entire existence. the background buzz of fear. What's wrong? Where's the problem? Always looking for danger. And I'm not blowing this out of proportion. I'm not exaggerating. This is how my brain works for 90% of my existence, if not more. The only time that I don't feel fear or worry or panic is when my mind is fully engaged, when I'm in a flow state, when I'm working on a project that I'm really passionate about, or I'm pursuing one of my hobbies that I'm really passionate about, or I'm nailing a workout, whatever it is. If I'm in a flow state, my mind is occupied on that single task. But the second that I'm not, I'm looking for danger all the time. And I'll always find something to latch onto and make the worst case scenario. And it's there all the time. And I journal and I meditate and I go to therapy, and it keeps a lid on it, and it means that I can function. It means that I don't just collapse into a ball and just give up. One of my friends, he recently came back from a place called Rythmia. It's supposedly the only medically licensed ayahuasca retreat in the world. Ayahuasca is a psychedelic concoction that has been used in South America and the Amazon for supposedly thousands of years. The forefront of treating mental health disorders, the scientific forefront currently, is the use of psychedelics. This is something that I've been considering for a while, but I didn't know how I was going to do it, because living in the UK, there's no chance. It's not just about the ayahuasca. It's a full holistic treatment. They have breathwork classes and yoga classes and meditation, and it's supposed to be a full healing protocol, and it's supposed to be intense. So my flights are booked. My stay at Rythmia is booked, and I'm going to Costa Rica tomorrow. I can't wait to see the country. I've never been to Central America. I've not had a holiday for 6 years since I've started this business. I've not been on a plane since I came back from Japan in end of 2017. So I'm super excited to go to a nice hot country and have some 5-star spa treatment. But then also alongside that, I'm going to have to do a lot of work. They give you 4 nights of ayahuasca. They give you 4 nights of the plant medicine. And no doubt I'm going to go to some dark places, and I'm going to probably confront some demons. And I'm not a very spiritual person. I'm absolutely a man of science, but I'm willing to get in on the spiritual side of this, because this is a big throw of the dice for me. It's going to be a wild adventure. Where do I start? Wow. What an incredible experience. First of all, I guess I should address the elephant in the room. Did it work? I think so. I didn't want to make this video straight away. I wanted to give it some time to sink in and settle in now that I'm back from Rythmia and back in my old life again. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since I left Rythmia, and it's not been plain sailing, but I feel amazing. I feel lighter. I feel more connected. I feel more peaceful. So Rythmia is an incredible place. It's basically a 5-star spa with this incredible healing protocol weaved into the week. They really know what they're doing. So when you arrive, you get given a pack with all kinds of stuff in it, but you get given one of these, a workbook. They give you this weekly schedule, and the week there's a lot to do. You have the orange blocks, which are mandatory classes, which they very much encourage you to go to, and then there's other ones, other workshops and classes that are optional. I went to most of them. Like for example, the yoga starts at 7 a.m, 7 till 8. That's optional. But things like the plant integration and obviously the ayahuasca ceremony, which they call herbal support therapy here, those are mandatory because that's what you're there for, really. But yeah, all the facilities were incredible. All the staff was so nice, so helpful. Nothing's too much to ask. Like they're on call all the time, whatever you need, with a smile on their face, and they're there to help you. Everyone that I spoke to was just incredible, so nice, so open, so forthcoming, so helpful. Just yeah, incredible. I arrived on the Saturday, so I had breathwork ceremony on Saturday night and breathwork ceremony on Sunday night. Never done breathwork before, and that was an eye-opener from the start. I cried in both breathwork classes. I've not really considered myself a crier. Like I mentioned, I've been pretty emotionally stunted for a long time. Yeah, and this was an eye-opener for me, that I could go deeper into myself just with the power of the breath. And the people that ran the session were incredible. Everything that happens, all the ceremonies happen in a space called the Maloka, which is this big building in the center of the complex. You can't do any filming. Not even allowed to take phones or anything in there during a ceremony because it's a sacred space. Then Monday to Thursday, every night you have ayahuasca ceremony. And boy, I was not expecting what I received. I went into it with a very scientific approach. I knew through fMRI studies that certain things happen to your brain when you have DMT, which is the main psychoactive ingredient of ayahuasca. I know that the default mode network, the area of the brain responsible for basically for your identity and your sense of self-talk, the person that you tell yourself that you are, as well as many other things, this part of the brain, this gets shut down during a DMT trip, and when you come round, it's been kind of reset. I also understood that DMT can have effect on the amygdala, which is for anyone suffering with anxiety, they know that this is the main area of the brain that causes most of the problems when it comes to mental health disorders like anxiety. So I went into it thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to take this psychedelic and it's going to change my brain structure and I'm going to be fixed. Firstly, it's not that straightforward. And secondly, ayahuasca is so much more than just a psychedelic compound. In ayahuasca culture, they almost exclusively refer to it as medicine or the medicine. And boy, is it medicine. The only way that I can describe how it feels is that you drink the medicine and it's like it's intelligent. It goes, you feel it inside you, not just working on your brain, but you feel it in your cells, in your DNA, like speaking to your body. It's bizarre. And I know I sound like a crazy person saying this. I know it sounds mental, and it sounds pretty far-fetched, and I would be very skeptical if I was hearing the things that I'm saying. But after what I experienced last week, it's opened my mind to possibilities, which is kind of what I needed. There's a bunch of lessons and messages that they want to portray when you get there. And one of the first things that you learn is that the medicine gives you what you need, not what you want. I went into it thinking that I was going to get something, and I came out with so much more. The ayahuasca ceremonies themselves are wild. None like anything I've ever experienced. So if I put it in simple terms, you go into the Maloka. The ceremony happens at night, so everyone goes into the Maloka around dusk as the sun's starting to set, and there are a bunch of mattresses laid out, and the Maloka is split in half, men on one side, women on the other, and each mattress has a bucket and a roll of toilet paper. And you pick your mattress, whichever mattress calls to you. That's your mattress for the night. Some people had the same mattress every night. Some people switched it up. Then the ceremony starts. There's all kinds of traditions and processes that go on. There's incense, there's smoke cleansing the area. There's the shamans blessing the medicine. The shamans speak to you as a group beforehand and afterwards, imparting wisdom and encouraging people to share their experiences, and you're all in it together. So when you get to Rythmia, and as part of your pack, you're given a cup. This is what you drink your medicine from. Take it with you. After everyone's settled and they've done the blessings and everything, they will call for the first cup. And you'll go up to the front and have your first cup. It's rank. It's like, it has the consistency of mud. It's kind of gritty. It's like very thick brown liquid. And for me, the only way I can describe it is it tastes like fermented coffee, like sour, like gone off coffee. It's like a combination of sour and bitter. It's not easy to drink. And you go back to your mattress and you're in darkness. There's no lights on in the Maloka. They might have an altar in the middle with like a single burning candle, but lights are off, and it's just quiet. And then you're encouraged to focus on your breathing, relax, go inside, and just let the medicine do its work. After an hour and a half, they will then call for the second cup. You go up and get your second cup. And this is the minimum that they recommend. Some people only had one cup, they only needed one cup. Yeah, when it kicks in, it kicks in. It kicks in for different people at different stages. I'd heard before I went, that there is a lot of vomiting and diarrhea. And I thought this was like a side effect of the ayahuasca, but it turns out this is part of the process. It's called purging, and it's not just vomiting and diarrhea. Purging can be anything. Yawning is a big one. Everyone's yawning all the time, which is a bit weird. Crying is a big one. Shaking, like body movements. And the idea is that the medicine, you drink the medicine, it goes inside you, it learns about you, it learns about anything that's not serving you, and it pulls it out and it shows you. This can be through visions, through what people might say a trip, like having psychedelic experiences, and this can also be through purging. So this physical act of throwing up or going to the toilet or crying, this is your body removing this trauma, this emotional trauma that's stored inside you. And there's a lot of it. The ceremony lasts for, 4 or 5 hours. Time has no meaning in the Maloka. There's no clocks. You're not allowed to take your phone in or anything. And when you are on the medicine, time is just, it's non-existent. It's so weird. After you've had the second cup, you can go and get a third cup or a fourth cup. It's basically open bar after that. And they do say that you can never drink enough medicine. You will have a battle with your ego. Your ego will tell you not to get more medicine, but the aim of the game is to not listen to your ego and go and get more medicine. One of the mantras that they give you is don't think, drink. So if at any point you think about having another cup of medicine, go and get a cup of medicine. I had 3 every night, except the last night I had 4. And I think that was good for me. Yeah, it's wild. You're in a dark room, a big space, on a mattress, surrounded by 60 other people, all throwing up, going to the toilet, crying, shaking, stumbling around, screaming sometimes when it gets really intense. It's a wild, dark place, but everyone there's for healing. And the more they say, another thing that they tell you is you've got to feel it to heal it. So you have this trauma stored inside you, this unprocessed trauma, and you need to feel it to work through it. And the medicine helps you to do that. It brings it. In fact, it doesn't help you. It doesn't give you a choice. It brings it out and it just makes it real for you. Monday night was very uncomfortable for me. I was horrified at the pain that was in the room. I did have some visions. I won't go into all the details of my visions because it was a long and wild journey. But Monday night was the only night that I really had visions. Tuesday night was the worst. I went there for anxiety, and on Tuesday night, my anxiety was transformed into absolute fear, terror. It was at the age of 38 years old, that Tuesday night was the most scared I have ever been in my whole life. It was, I can't describe it. I didn't really have a lot of visions. I was in the room most of the night, but it was a wild night. I haven't mentioned the music as well. After you have the second cup, generally the shamans will start the music. Sometimes that's a bit of live music, which is incredible. Sometimes it's played through the speaker system. But the music's always perfect for what you need. The music's designed to trigger you. Like sometimes it'll be sad music, sometimes it'll be intense music, sometimes it'll be happy music. It seems to be designed to trigger emotions and to trigger feelings. The music is all part of the culture. A lot of the music that you listen to is like, it seems to be written by ayahuasca for ayahuasca. Tuesday night, the music was intense. The room was wild. Lots of purging, lots of crying, screaming. Sometimes people have to be taken outside because they're too disruptive to everyone else. Sometimes people have to be restrained because they're purging, like they need to be looked after, basically. Which brings me on to the workers there. During ceremony, you have the shamans that are conducting the main ceremony, but there are a group of people there that are well versed with the medicine. They're also on the medicine, and they are there to look after you and to help you. And these people are angels. I cannot describe it any other way. They are the nicest, most open, honest, genuine, caring people I've ever met in my whole life. Most of them have drunk a lot of medicine, so they have this peace about them, this oneness, this connectedness with everything, with nature, and nothing is too much to ask. Whatever you need, they'll help you with. They'll empty your sick buckets, they'll change your mattress, they'll help you to the toilet, they'll talk to you if you just need talking and guidance. They'll sit with you, they'll calm you. They are just the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. And yeah, sometimes if someone's working through something particularly intense, they can start acting out. So sometimes people need to be restrained. And I think on Tuesday night, a couple of people did have to be restrained. But this is good. The bigger your reaction, the more you're purging, the more you're removing from your body. I shared afterwards, after the ceremony, and the shaman helped me a lot. His name was Chris, and yeah, he helped me to understand what I was going through a lot, but it didn't change the fact that I was terrified. Not of anything in particular, just of everything. I had a healing during the ceremony, which was wild, and I still now can't explain what happened to me. As a man of science and logic and rationality, I had healing from one of the shamans. They put their hands on me, they did some chanting, they waved some leaves on me, they used some liquid, and my fear subsided. There was an energy shift in me that I cannot explain, and I'm not going to try and explain. Wednesday night was wonderful. Wednesday night was the divine feminine night, and it was so welcoming and peaceful and joyous, and that's when I experienced my first real bout of healing. I won't go into the details, but I was put in a situation that really triggered my anxiety, and in that moment I had a choice. I realized I had a choice, not consciously, maybe subconsciously, but I had a choice between love and fear. And I had surgery that night. Having like astral surgery, I guess you'd call it, is very common. I had surgery on a few nights, but on this night in particular, it was working on my heart. And whatever happened to me during that night, my heart was changed forever. My feeling, my core, my spirit, my soul was changed from fear and anxiety to love and compassion for everyone else in the room and for myself. I also shed my ego that night. We'd had an excellent workshop in the daytime with one of the speakers called Lola, and through her patience and guidance, for the first time in my life, I understood what ego means, what ego is. And at Rythmia, they talk about, a lot of people think that ego is your enemy, that it's something that works against you. And it can work against you in a way, but because it's in Costa Rica and people speak Spanish, they have a phrase there and they say, my ego is my amigo, as in my ego is my friend. And this was a real transformative experience for me. I learned through that my ego, my anxiety, in some ways has been manifested by my ego to look after me. Fear keeps you safe, and your ego can wrap you in a bubble of fear to keep you safe from any dangers out there. But when that bubble of fear is constant and sometimes unnecessary, that's when it becomes unhelpful. So to understand that the anxiety that my ego gave me was actually my ego trying to look after me, that was a huge shift. And during the ceremony, I fully understood that, and I said thank you to my ego. Thank you for looking after me all these years, but it's unnecessary. I don't need it anymore, and I'm going to change. And I shed my ego, and this barrier between me and everyone else fell away. And all that was left was love. And there's nothing stopping that love from reaching other people. The shaman that night was Waleska, and she's just one of the best people I've ever met in my whole life. Just so nice, so genuine, just so funny, just everything. The music was amazing, the music was beautiful. Wednesday night was wonderful. Thursday night we had a guest shaman called Taita Juanito, and he's basically supposedly one of the best shamans in the world. Like, he's one of the top boys. Amazing guy, so peaceful and unassuming, but clearly very good at what he does. And he brought with him a stronger form of the medicine called yahe, which has come from Colombia. I had 4 cups, which apparently is a lot of yahe, but I didn't really feel it working on me. I didn't have a lot of visions. I did have some visions. I won't go into that. That was my journey, so I'll keep that as my journey. But when you're on the medicine, they describe it as being drunk, and that's kind of what it's like. You're uneasy on your feet, like maybe you can't see very well, you're impaired in many ways. And on Thursday night, I was so drunk. For my 3rd and 4th cup, I couldn't even take them standing up. I went to queue to get the medicine from Taita at the front, but I couldn't stand up, so I had to take the medicine kneeling down because I was so unsteady on my feet. I slept a lot through yahe night. The room was wild. It was just carnage. They have way more workers on there helping you on Thursday, because they know that when the medicine kicks in, because it's a lot stronger than ayahuasca, it's just going to go bananas. It's going to go through the roof. Loads of purging, loads of noise in the room. There's this like weird wave of energy that goes through the room. They're still playing the music. Taita brought his own band, who were just incredible. And yeah, I slept a lot through Thursday, which apparently is a thing that happens. It's good. Like, the medicine's still working on me. But usually the ceremony finishes at like 1:30. But this was a long one. This was a traditional Colombian ceremony where it finishes in the morning with the sunrise, and the sunrise represents kind of like a rebirth. So from about 9 o'clock at night till 9 a.m, this is the ceremony. And I kind of came round when the sun was rising, and this was the first thing that I saw in front of me. The sun was rising straight over me where my mattress was. And there was people laughing and cheering, the band was playing and everyone was happy. There was people dancing. A lot of people had left their mattresses and they were just sat down at the front, like watching the band and enjoying the music. But I couldn't do that because my mind was broken. My mind was shattered into a million pieces. The only way that I can describe it is it felt like my mind it was like defragmenting a hard drive. Like everything was just pulled apart and just laid out, and it was gradually being put back together. I was terrified that I'd permanently broken my brain. I couldn't make sense of anything. I could barely walk. I couldn't see very well. I couldn't form sentences. I was speaking very slowly. Nothing made sense to me. People would speak to me and I couldn't understand what they were saying. It was not nice, and this lasted a long time. One of the workers there really helped me. He kept coming back to check on me, and at one point he was giving me breathing exercises to do and like helping me to focus on my breath and being present rather than trying to work this out in my head. I was just tying myself in knots. My mind was trying to figure out everything. At a few points I just gave up. I just lied there and I was like, I just want to switch off. I don't want this anymore. I want to let go. I don't want to try and figure this out. My mind was like it was on overdrive. It was like it was being cooked. It was so difficult. Throughout the day it got better and better. I spoke to a lot of people, spoke to a lot of the staff there and the workers, and they all reminded me that it was happening for a reason. The medicine was working on me, and it was fixing something, it was healing something. Didn't feel like that at the time, but in the end, yeah, it all came together. Friday afternoon was probably the biggest surprise for me, because there was a session called the Dance of Liberation. This wasn't a mandatory class, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to go because I was still feeling pretty rough from this experience on Friday morning. Still wasn't quite all put together, but boy am I glad I went. It was incredible. There was a few exercises that you do, some on your own, some with a partner, and it was just so freeing. And it's called Dance of Liberation for a reason. I'm not a dancer, I've never been a dancer, but I danced so hard and I danced so free, and there was times when I was just totally in my body. I wasn't in my head at all. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just in the present moment. I've done a lot of meditation over the years, and like I do appreciate it when I can get fully present, but I don't think I've ever been as present as I was during that dance. Like it was just, I was fully in my body, fully in the moment. I just let loose. I've never let go like that in my life. It was incredible. We had another breathwork class on Friday evening, and I cried again, and this was the final piece of the puzzle. All this journey I'd had over the week of highs and lows and being broken and being healed, and all this combination of things, all the workshops we'd had, all the things we'd learned about ego and about the medicine and all these things, they all came together in that breathwork class. And I met my inner child, I met my previous self, I met a number of my previous selves, and I forgave them all. And for the first time in my life, I learned to love myself. And yeah, I cried again, and it was so peaceful. It was so wonderful. And I thought that was the last of my healing. I thought that was the last of my revelations. But when I was in the airport on Monday in Costa Rica, waiting to get my flight home, I was journaling and something else came to me that I wasn't expecting. I don't know, I think I'm right in saying most people in my group, and it's seemingly most people that drink medicine, have some kind of spiritual awakening, or they became aware of God. In Ayahuascan culture, they often refer to God as Mother Ayahuasca. Sometimes it's referred to as the source, or whatever you want to call it, some higher consciousness. Some people experience a oneness with everything, a connectedness to the universe, an understanding that a divine spiritual understanding that everything is one. There's a wide spectrum of spiritual awakenings that people can receive on the medicine, and a lot of people do. But I didn't. And I was curious about this. Maybe I was slightly frustrated about this. I was very vocal throughout all my time at Rythmia that I was skeptical. I am a skeptic at heart, really. Or I was a skeptic at heart. And I did believe in the power of DMT, but anything more than that I wasn't expecting. I certainly didn't believe in God, and I made that pretty vocal as well. But throughout the week I learned to believe in the medicine because of my experience and what it was doing to me. But I never got this connection to God. I never got this spiritual awakening. And I was journaling about this, and I realised that I never got this definitive answer. But I also realised that I'm okay with it. And this might not sound like anything, but this is a big thing for me. I'm very black and white thinking, very binary, yes or no, this or that, it's correct or it's wrong. And this came up in my therapy quite a lot, actually. That I really struggle with grey area. I struggle with not knowing. It's caused me a lot of mental turmoil over the years. I have to know, I have to figure it out. And if I don't know, I'll play it over and over and over and over again until I have an answer. And most of the time I don't get an answer, and it just drives me mental, it drives me crazy. Knowing whether there's a higher consciousness or not, knowing whether God exists or not, it's probably one of the biggest questions you can ask. And throughout my time at Rythmia, there was times when I did ask this question, but I didn't get an answer. And I'm absolutely okay with that. And I think this came about on Friday morning when my mind was broken. Because there was times, I don't remember a lot of it, but I do remember there was times when I just surrendered. I just let go, and I was like, I can't figure this out. I don't know what this is. And you combine that with the dance of liberation later that day and the breath work and everything. And I think, looking back, I know that I learned to let go. I don't know exactly when it happened, but it happened. And I realised this when I was in the airport journaling, that a sentence that my therapist is encouraging me to embrace, a phrase that I've been encouraged to embrace, is, I don't know, and that's okay. And I could never get on board with this before, ever. I didn't understand. It was totally alien to me. But now, I don't know, and that's okay. And this goes all the way back to the beginning, when they tell you that the medicine gives you what you need, not what you want. The medicine was playing 4D chess with me. Most people go to Rythmia and they get answers, and that helps them. But I went to Rythmia and I didn't get answers, and that helped me. It's insane. the medicine is incredible. I feel so light. I feel so peaceful. Not everything is fixed. Some things have been fixed instantly, like overnight. So my anxiety often would manifest as OCD stuff. I went for CBT for this years ago, and it kind of helped, but it didn't really stick. So things like if I left the house, if I left my apartment, I'd always come back to check something, always. That might be the oven. Sometimes before I left the house, I would stand and stare at my oven for a good 2 or 3 minutes, just to make sure that everything's turned off. Like, I've not left anything on. The hobs are all turned off and the oven's turned off. And I'd stand there and stare at it just to make sure. And then I'd come back again after I'd left just to make sure again. I checked multiple times. Turn off every socket. Check every tap. Check that I'd locked the door. Come back and check that 2 or 3 times. Since I've come back, I've not come back to check anything once. I can just leave, just peacefully, normally, like a fully functioning human. The other thing was cleanliness. After a big thing from COVID was infection, contagion. Like, I would be convinced that like I was going to catch something, or I was going to give something to my family. I was going to catch something and then pass it on to them, and this was a big issue. But like, I'd never touched my face in public. Like, when I was out in public, I'd have to wash my hands first, or I couldn't eat with my hands unless I washed them first. Now I'm perfectly happy to go out and eat with my hands, eat a sandwich, you know. I don't have that requirement to wash my hands 10, 12 times a day anymore. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, bacteria is normal, germs are everywhere. Like, it's okay. I've let go of that control. I'm free. This background buzz of fear, this fear of like, there's something wrong, there's some danger, like, that tries to bubble up sometimes. But anxiety is natural. It's part of being human. It's a defense mechanism. It's totally normal. But I just don't let it. It doesn't run away with me anymore. It doesn't capture me and take me on this mental journey, playing things over and over and over again. And I'm not saying that I'm fully there yet. There's still work to do. When you leave Rythmia, they tell you that the medicine is in you for at least another 21 days afterwards. So when you do come back to your old life, you're encouraged to continue the practice, continue the work. There has been moments of fear, especially when I'm on my own, like at night time and stuff. There's been some very difficult dreams. I'm definitely still processing some stuff. That's got better now. The first week was wild dreams. The dreams, I don't know if I'd describe them as nightmares. Kind of, a couple of them were kind of nightmares, but just really intense dreams. Like, I'm still in ceremony every night, and obviously still working through some stuff, which is a good thing. You know, if there's stuff still there to clear out, then let's get rid of it. But yeah, incredible experience. It's expensive, but it's absolutely worth it. What price do you put on quality of life? What price do you put on peace of mind? I'm so grateful that I have the means and the freedom and the money in order to be able to go and do it. I know that I'm very privileged, and I'm very grateful for that. I think I'm going to go back for more sometime in the future, maybe next year, maybe further down the line, but I do feel some more medicine in the future would be beneficial for me. It's hard work. It's really hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. But boy, is it worth it. Ayahuasca is a very special thing. It's a very interesting thing. Supposedly it's over 5,000 years old, and it's actually made of 2 different components. This leaf which contains high concentration of DMT. But when you eat this leaf, the enzymes in your digestive tract break down the DMT before it reaches the blood-brain barrier. The ayahuasca is named after the ayahuasca vine, and the ayahuasca vine subdues or stops the development of these enzymes, which allows the DMT to do its work. When the conquistadors arrived in South America and pretty much destroyed all of South American culture, a few Amazon tribes retreated into the jungle. They stayed hidden and they stayed safe, and they took this technology with them, this medicine. And technology is the only word I can use to describe it. It's ancient technology, for sure. So these tribes have kept this safe for 5,000 plus years. And now, only recently have they started to reintroduce it into the world. And my God, am I glad that they that they protected this medicine, because it is like nothing else. Nothing else. I have my history with recreational drugs. I've been there, got the t-shirt, but this isn't like that. This isn't like that at all. It's medicine. It's natural plant medicine. It's natural plant medicine that perfectly synergizes with the human body. It's insane. It could have so easily been lost. It's from a previous time in humanity's history where it feels like we were more connected to nature, where we had more of an understanding of, a true understanding of how our minds and our souls work. Ayahuasca is like it's a little it's like a little clue. It's a little tidbit of information, and it just makes me think, what else have we lost along the way? And I'm so glad that I've experienced what I experienced, and I'm so grateful to these tribes for keeping this medicine safe. And I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to experience it. And I'm so grateful to Rythmia for allowing me to experience it safely. To combine modern, Western, scientific approach and the ancient, natural, shamanistic culture, and combine the two into a true healing protocol. Ayahuasca and Rythmia have healed my anxiety. And I am so grateful. For the first time in as long as I can remember, I'm free.